Hi, friends. Welcome to the Start from the Heart Gratitude, the Daily Gratitude Podcast. We're, trying to start each day or go through each day with a little bit more gratitude in our hearts. I've had conversations with people lately who have asked, "What's my why for this?" And really, a big deal for me is that it just gets me thinking personally more about what I'm grateful for every day. I go to bed at night thinking about tomorrow morning's episode, and I spend the rest of the day thinking about this morning's episode and planning for tomorrow. And so I'm excited that I've got a relatively new friend, someone I've known in the community for a long time. We finally sat down earlier this week for the first time. We got intentional about it and sat down over a cup of coffee early this week. In fact, I think we started the week with coffee Monday morning. I think that's how we got the week going. Logan Altman, Southern California native. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background before I dive into a couple questions I have for you, bud.
Thanks, Ed. Really appreciate it. It's such an honor to be here. And like you mentioned, having the ability to be involved in such great community, like yourself and so many others that we're mutually connected with is truly, it's incredible. So quick backstory. I'm the Chief Impact Officer of Doing Good Works. We're a social enterprise here in Southern California aimed at using business to create life-changing outcomes for young people in the foster system. And I have the honor and privilege every day of waking up knowing that we get to use business as a force of good. So it's so fun to be able to be featured on a podcast segment on gratitude, because I certainly have a ton of it.
So, in the time that we've known each other in the community, gratitude is certainly, even before I thought about doing this podcast, certain people, and you're definitely tip of the iceberg of people I think about when I think about gratitude. I like the name Doing Good Works. I was thinking about that earlier today, thinking, it can be read a couple different ways. Doing good works. Certainly, it works to do good. And then also, obviously, doing good works. So, can you talk a little bit more about that, the social enterprise, but to tell me more specifically about what you do before we dive into our conversation?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that, Ed, because the name itself came about organically when my co-founders were beginning the idea about thinking, the concept of using business was there, the concept of being able to support the foster community was there, and the idea behind the name just organically came up in conversation. My one co-founder had said to the others, "What are we doing?" And the other one said, "Well, we're doing good works," and just in a nonchalant way, and they said, "That's it. We're
It just
doing
stuck.
good works." And it just stuck exactly. And that really encapsulates really those three words about everything that we do. Our whole mission from a business perspective, from a mission standpoint, is to do good works. And we also say that doing good works. It really
Right.
does. It's kind of a proven point in that whatever we're doing, if we're doing good with it and that kindness and gratitude with that intention behind the good, that it really does work. We feel that, we sense it, and it ultimately creates that change from within that you get so excited about. So it is funny how that came about organically, and once that happened and it stuck, it's been with us ever since.
I love it. And I think about several examples of people that you and I know, and that others that I know as well, that since COVID especially have been doing amazing things in the community, starting up nonprofits and serving first responders and so forth. And each one of them would attest that their business is doing better because of the good that they've been doing in the community.
Yeah,
So, so
I
let's talk about that word gratitude. This is the focus of the conversation today. Um, I feel like we're going to repeat some of the conversation we had over coffee on Monday, but that's okay because we weren't recording that one. So now we're
That's
recording
right.
it so other people could be that fly on the wall at Badass Coffee where we met on Monday
Yep.
morning. Talk about that word gratitude to you. What does that mean to you? And then we'll dive a little deeper into a few things more specifically that you're grateful for in your life.
Yeah, that's something that for me is a very personal word, and I take to heart, both from a faith perspective as well as just understanding that things aren't guaranteed in life. I have the privilege of working with incredible individuals that have had very disadvantaged backgrounds, and we really incorporate those individuals throughout the entirety of our business operation, both on the business and mission side. And I vicariously hear of things that I could only think about and never think to have had actually experienced before, the traumas, the experiences that these individuals have gone through, and I'm so grateful that I had not gone through, puts a total perspective into understanding the mission that's at hand every day and how we can really push that forward and show folks that doing good works, as we just discussed.
Right.
And so when I get to hear that every day in different ways about the little nuances of how folks had their upbringing and I didn't have to go through that, I truly do get that sense of gratitude. And then on the flip side, from a spiritual perspective, as a believer in Christ, I feel extremely grateful that I have the chance to utilize my God-given gifts and abilities to give back to the community. As we talk about having purpose, having the desire to ensure that we're leaving tomorrow better than it is today, I have a sense of gratitude and understanding that God's given me an ability to help to shepherd folks into community and realize that doing good is good for business, and we can all collaborate in a way that creates a better tomorrow. So I've always said to myself that it's never guaranteed, right? Like, the breath in your lungs is not guaranteed. Tomorrow may not be guaranteed. And I don't use that in a negative connotation, and I focus on it more of just taking in the moment, seizing the day, carpe diem, as we say, and saying that if we've got breath in our lungs and we've got vision in our eyes and we have the opportunity to use a platform, whatever we have, to do good in this world, then for me specifically, I'm going to do that. I'm grateful that I get to wake up every single day and have the ability to transform lives, both in the interactions I have with clients, with team members, and the community members that we serve. So so important that I think about it daily and I don't put that on the back burner. And then you just get stagnant.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question I haven't asked anybody else yet on this podcast, because I'm always trying to think of new approaches and new angles, and I certainly want to stay in the lane. You went to Cal Baptist. You have been an assistant worship leader at Saddleback Church, among others.
Yep.
How have you seen gratitude transform other people?
Oh, what a great question. I think when you realize and that light bulb flicks on in seeing like, oh my gosh, I have the opportunity to now shape a different outlook, either from how I take advantage of life situations, how I think about new ways of living. When that light switches, it is so special. I know personally, I see it certainly within the church, that transformational gratitude that happens when individuals come to faith, but also in the work that I get to do on a daily basis. When I see individuals that have broken the cycle of incarceration or homelessness, or finally getting their college degree and realizing that it was just one small act, or that caring adult and that individual that gave them the resources, they instantaneously are filled with that gratitude and want to be able to pour back into the individuals that are very near and dear to their heart. And it creates that beautiful cycle of give, as we like to call it. We see a lot of individuals that went through mentorship programs now become the mentors. And there's this sense of gratitude and joy because who poured into them, they now get to pour into and show that best practice to. So it's so fun to watch and to see, and you see this joy and excitement when people break the systematic cycles, especially in the foster community, and they get so excited about helping people down that same pathway. And that's why Foster Greatness was born, which is our nonprofit. It's because when you sense that gratitude and you feel this excitement, you can't help but want to share that with others.
You have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. You mentioned to me the other day.
Yep.
What do you plan? And you're doing it now. They're 5 and they're 3. And as they age, you'll do it more. What are you teaching them about gratitude?
Well, the biggest thing, and our dear friend Charles will say this as well, we're teaching them to be kind. That's the first thing. Those 2 words are so important because as they go out into the world and they understand how mom and dad think, how the world thinks, it's not always, at the forefront. So we oftentimes are really reiterating, be kind to a friend today at school, be kind to your teacher, be kind to your church leader. But what we focus on as well is really emulating those qualities of gratitude, showing that, we're very blessed with being able to live in Southern California. We've got stable incomes. We've got an amazing community. And we don't take that for granted. And what my wife and I really try to instill in our kiddos is that everything that you've been blessed with in our faith is that it's God's, but that it's earned, and it's not something that simply is just a right, it's a privilege. And I've seen the work that has happened in the character of my children with the way that they give. My daughter, I'll never forget, quick little story. We had a little Easter egg hunt that happened at Easter in the community. And my 5-year-old did amazing. She's the sweetest gal, but my little 3-year-old son got very spooked and scared during the egg hunt. And he only had 2 eggs and he was so distraught. My daughter, without hesitation, went right over and dumped her entire basket of eggs into my son's basket.
Nice.
And said, "Here you go, Liam." And it was not, I needed to do it. it wasn't because she felt forced. It was because she had this gratitude in her heart that she had the opportunity to give to her brother who was distraught and didn't understand. And those are the little types of character traits that we see daily that show that we're on the right track in terms of how we're raising them.
I love that. I love when we see our kids do things like that, whether they're 5 and 3 or whether they're 35 and 33. My kids are all in their 30s. Well, I can't say that anymore. My oldest just turned 40. I can no longer say all my kids are in their 30s. Yeah, it's crazy to me to stop and think about that.
Unbelievable.
One of the things that I do often on these brief conversations is I ask my existing guest if there was a question that you'd like to pose to my next guest. What might that be? Does anything come to mind that if you were doing the podcast tomorrow morning, when I sit down with my guest who's coming to me from North Carolina, so I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning our time to get her at 7:30 her time. She is the head of the National Speaker Association, National Speaker Hall of Fame. But you didn't need to know that because you don't know her. But if there's anything that comes to mind on this topic of gratitude that you think I should ask her.
I have 3 words that immediately come to mind, Ed, and they're these 3. What's your why? And I say that, and I think that's a very universal ask of 3 words, because at the end of the day, it gives that ability to introspect and find out what your purpose is and make it known. Sometimes audibly hearing you vocalize what your why is can reinvigorate what that day looks like and put forth that plan that says, I'm doing this because of that. And that why might be because of family, it might be because of personal obligations, and it just might be because of goodwill. But I think about a universal ask of those 3 words, and boy, does that start that idea of, well, what am I doing? Or I realize I'm doing this, but I need to really grasp it. So I would suggest those 3 words at least come up once in the conversation tomorrow.
All right. Well, let's finish with me asking you to answer your own question. Logan, what's your why?
My why is very much a 2-pronged approach. I've got a biblical view, and then I've got a more of a worldview, if you will. My biblical worldview is that I feel I'm placed on this planet to show the fruits of the Spirit in Christ's manner. And I truly focus every single day in what I do to try my best without, with fail at the end of the day, to live out the fruits of the Spirit in any way that I possibly can. On a worldview, I simply want to create a better tomorrow for the kids that I have, and know that I have made a positive impact in every facet of what I do, whether that's I'm getting up in the morning and making breakfast with the family and having an honest conversation, or I'm having a difficult conversation with one of my team members. Maybe it's how I'm interacting on the road. But at the end of the day, it's understanding that I'm going to be in a position that puts tomorrow at a better place than it was today. So that's my two-pronged answer.